Welcome to Withdraw Consent. I'm Jack. This is Victor. Today we're going to talk about tolerance or intolerance, depending on how you want to look at it. And we're going to try to put this in your mind as a list of terms that if you hear these terms, red flags should go off in your head. Other such ones are anti-Semitism or anti-Semitic, authoritarian. What was the other ones?
Well, I had a video about what does the system fear.
Yeah, you hear what they're afraid of, right? So we're going to talk about tolerance, and I think we've found some things that are pretty ludicrous about the idea of tolerance.
Okay.
Victor, take it away.
Yeah, if you want, we can do what they do in some videos. If you want to pause the video and just put things right now before we get into this that you feel like should be tolerated.
Yeah, what things should be tolerated.
Actions, people, whatever, personal level, government level, national level, whatever you want. And then we'll go through this video and see if your opinion changes on your list. All right. So we had a conversation months ago, and you brought it up, and it was just a conversation about being tolerant. And my initial reaction was that there's nothing you should tolerate because I'm a robot and everything's very like black and white. And do you remember your argument about like what path we kind of went down with this?
I think my initial thing was that I was talking about how people who are tolerant should tolerate my intolerance.
Okay.
Because if you're a tolerant person,
right,
you should tolerate my intolerance. But I find that tolerant people are actually intolerant of my tolerance.
Okay.
Tolerant people are intolerant of my intolerance.
Yes.
So then I put it to you, and you said,
just that there's nothing you should tolerate.
Okay, yeah, he pitched that. None of the things they say you should tolerate.
Right.
And so we started working down the list of things, and let's just go through the list.
Okay.
They tell you should tolerate gender-affirming care for your child.
Okay. And that's, I mean, you're harming your kid. You are mutilating your child.
Right.
That should not be tolerated.
It should not be tolerated.
I shouldn't even tolerate it for your sake and your kid. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That type of thing.
Okay. What about this? I'm going to pitch one to you right here. Now, let's say they say you should tolerate LGBTQ. And I'm not going to put a T on there because we already talked about that. That is not related to LGBTQ. So they say you should tolerate LGBTQ. Now, I totally get the argument if you say, I'm intolerant of parades going through my town with naked people or nearly naked people doing things to children in public. Okay, I could get that. You don't tolerate that. But what about you should tolerate somebody's LGBTQ in private business? What about that?
Yeah, see, that one's a tough one. But it's my argument against tolerating that.
We're going to get banned right now.
Yes,
I feel like.
and we're done.
Good.
It's if you just look at history, this argument, well, what we do in private's fine. Well, now we should be able to get married. And now, like, it's one step and then it's the next step. It's never just ends with the one thing. If it was a guarantee that they would never push for more than just what they do in their own home, probably would be okay with it. You never try to groom kids,
Right.
But I just feel like that is a step down the lane of like immorality. And
it's interesting because now that you mention that, I think about all the culture war videos you see with the indoctrination of the kids, and it's all LGBTQ teachers. It's all pride flags out and banners.
Totally.
And, yeah, interesting.
If we'd never gone the first step, that wouldn't be a thing.
But you wouldn't incarcerate somebody for...
Yeah, I don't know what the actual...
I feel like if you did go that route, it would be more like something where you say, like, it's illegal, completely illegal. You go to jail for it. And then you just never, ever prosecute anybody for it. Because it's like, if you're not making a big scene, you'll also not progress to the next step.
Right.
There won't be a parade with you in a thong, you know what I mean? Slapping a kid in the face with your, you know what I mean?
Drunk.
Business.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, just wild. Or doing naked bike rides through the, like, no. You just wouldn't get there because,
Totally. So my ultimate thought on this and thinking about this video is the word tolerate only goes with bad things. You don't tolerate getting a raise at work. You don't tolerate your wife cooking you a great meal.
You don't tolerate firearm ownership. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they don't say, nobody ever says, be tolerant of my Second Amendment rights. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean? Nobody ever says that. It's just.
Right. So there's an inherent negative value about the thing that they're trying to get you to tolerate. It is a bad thing. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to tolerate. You know what I mean? Tolerate would not be the correct word.
That's interesting.
Do you buy that or no?
No, I honestly do. It rings true. I don't think that was included in our previous conversation.
I think that's a new thing I've come up with.
Yeah. I'm interested in knowing what you think about that.
Like shoot holes in this, because this is, again, a new thought that I've had this week and thinking through this. And you just go down the list of all the things. You have to tolerate refugees from other countries? No. Why?
Tolerate illegal immigration? Yeah.
Right. Tolerate, terrible behavior of, it's just,
tolerate property crimes because people are worth more than property. You know what I mean? No, you shouldn't.
No.
Just don't take people's stuff. It's pretty easy.
Again, but that goes under bad behavior. You're tolerating.
Yeah, and if you don't tolerate it, then the stuff just won't be taken.
Right.
It's like if you're in Texas and you try that.
Right.
You're just going to get shot. So you don't do it. You just don't do it. You be polite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, what other stuff do they say tolerant about? Be tolerant.
Let's see. I don't feel like they use that with like drug use, do they? Well, I mean, they kind of like what they're doing in San Francisco. You give them needles as opposed to getting them off of drugs.
Or when Biden did the thing where you can get the pipes and stuff.
Yeah.
It is. It's a form of. It's almost a form of subsidizing, which is beyond tolerance.
Yeah, or enabling.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We also tolerate mental health problems. We should be extremely intolerant of it. And by that, I mean, if you have PTSD, like say you were serving your country and you have PTSD, you should be getting free treatment for
100%.
that. For serving your country.
You paid a tall price.
Yeah.
But you should also not be in positions of leadership or whatever if you've got a mental issue going on. Right.
And then even like where you say, not the PTSD guy, but you take like a homeless guy who's just a raving lunatic on drugs. Mm-hmm. Tolerate that. Tolerate him screaming at you and throwing feces and stuff.
Or sleeping in front of your business.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Right.
Not my neighborhood, not my business. No.
Yeah. And when we were having this conversation before, I even tried to hit him with some things like, what about tolerate casinos, tolerate gambling? And what was your response?
That I just feel like that is a negative thing. The entire thing is rigged in favor of the casino. All the odds, all the machines, everything.
Right.
So if I'm supreme leader and I want the best for my people, I would not tolerate that for my people. Okay.
And then, but my counter argument to that is, what about player versus player skilled games where you're not playing against the house? So I'm not talking about blackjack against the house. I'm talking about I'm coming there to play Texas Hold'em against 6 other people, and we're paying the house periodically, and you're okay with that.
Yeah, so that's way different than
so it's house games and slot machines,
slots and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
right. We're just going to go off on another subject here because we've been talking about this recently, you and I. We shouldn't tolerate the lottery.
I completely agree.
The lottery, you want to tell that conspiracy theory? This is not founded in any reality. But go ahead.
I was watching some videos, no idea what it was, but the idea was that no one has ever actually won the super lottos, and that it's just taking money from middle and lower class people and just keeping them middle and lower class on the hope that they could be these, 1 in 100 million people that could win it. But in actuality, it's just all a drain of money going back into, the system.
Okay, so not the most recent billion one, but the previous billion one. Okay. I spent $20 in Illinois, bought some tickets, right? Okay. And the winner was in Illinois.
Okay.
And so I kept an eye on it and I watched it. And whatever, I forget exactly if it's 3 months or whatever, the 3 months passed and then nobody ever claimed it. So I researched it. What happens when they don't claim the lottery?
Yep.
They just take the money.
Right.
It just gets redistributed into all these government things.
Right. It's just another tax.
Did somebody win that lottery? Did somebody buy that ticket?
Who knows?
I'm doubting it.
Right.
I'm thinking, honestly, it's your point that the lottery just preys upon poor people. It does not prey upon rich people. It does not prey upon the top 1%, 5%, 10%, you know?
Right. But not even percentage, people with a certain mindset who are going to make they're going to be successful. They've got that thing where they're going to build their business. They're not buying lottery tickets either, even though they're not rich yet.
Right.
It's the...
And it's also preying on people who don't understand the odds. They just don't comprehend the odds.
Right.
There's no chance. And not that I haven't played it. I'm not deriding you.
I've played it too.
Yeah. And also the scratchers are fun. They're silly. You know? I ended up like, over the last year, I spent like $100 on them. And I came out like even. Oh, okay. You know? And so it's like once you're coming out even, it's like, I could spend $20 on another one. I buy the, you know, the big ones. You know?
Yeah.
I haven't done it in a long time, honestly. But if we could just bring this back to tolerance.
Sure.
Okay. This is just going to remind me. I'm going to put a link in the description to our video on the books the Nazis burned, right?
Okay.
And you would look at this and you would say, wow, they're intolerant. They burn child pornography. They burn LGBTQ stuff. They burn T stuff. And they burn communism stuff.
T stuff?
Well, because I did the LGBTQ and then the T.
Gotcha. Because
they got the books out of the Institute of Sexology that did the very first trans surgery in the entire world, you know? And then they did the communist stuff. And they did the weird stuff, the weird books for the kids. And they did 25,000 books. And that was an intolerant act, you know?
Totally.
But they're saying, no, tolerate all those things. Tolerate our communism. Tolerate our LGBT, our T, our P. You know what I mean? All the stuff they want you to...
They totally do.
Yeah, I just think when you hear the word tolerate...
Right.
Yeah, you're... And even if it's something like... Okay. Let's go into race here for a second. And I'm not going to be too extreme, but I'm going to say like recently there was it the mayor of Chicago or it was Chicago or New York, and the mayor's a black guy in both places. And he was talking about these large groups that are looting and stuff. And he said, wait a second. He's like, wait a second. You got to act respectfully. These are just large gatherings, you know? And it's like, you're tolerating them.
Yeah, totally.
You're tolerating teen takeovers. They're teens. You're adults.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it's a black guy, and he's tolerating a lot of black kids. I see white kids in the crowd. I look to see what we got, you know, but it's a lot of young black youth. It's not a lot of young Hispanic youth. It's not a lot of young Asian youth. It's not a long, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you tolerate it.
Right.
And they tell you should tolerate it, but you shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
And I'm talking about you should not tolerate it on behalf of the black-owned businesses in that community.
Right.
The white-owned, the Asian-owned. I'm not saying be racist or something.
Yeah, definitely not.
I'm saying, but if one group is doing activity, you shouldn't tolerate it. And this is not happening right now, but if there was a bunch of Islamic suicide bombings in the United States, you should not tolerate Islamic people being extremists in that manner.
Just because they're a different culture. No.
Right. And that is not happening right now. I'm not claiming that, but I'm saying that's just an example.
Right.
You shouldn't tolerate bad behavior.
Doesn't matter who's doing it, who they're doing it to.
Right.
There's certain behaviors that are
you shouldn't tolerate people living off of welfare, you know, abusing the system for disability when you don't have a disability. Like, you shouldn't tolerate this. You should prosecute this. You know what I mean? They should pay it all back in a good system. I wouldn't even mind going to a good system and just giving retroactive forgiveness. And now you're not looting us from here forward.
Right, totally.
Because I really don't want to go back and say, now the rules changed. Your due process there is, it's kind of violated, you know?
Yeah, it's not great.
But anyways, and there are some things like, for example, I'm going to say something very authoritarian right now.
Please.
Some things like pedophilia or something, I don't mind going retroactively death sentence. I don't mind. You know what I'm saying?
Or people who would be considered traitors in this system, they're not getting off scotch-free on the next one.
Right. Yeah, interesting. And it's funny, too, because they were like, one of the charges against Trump is conspiracy to defraud the American people.
Okay.
Let's see. How many people in Washington, D.C. could be charged with that?
All of them.
All of them. Everybody who's taking money from the military-industrial complex, from Big Pharma, from all the people at Big Pharma, the CEO, you know what I'm saying?
But literally the whole Biden family.
The whole Biden family, yeah. We could just go into lots of different industries, and we could just say, charge them all, you know? And you should not be defrauding whether you're at the welfare level or the disability level, or you're in Washington, D.C., you shouldn't defraud them. Anyways, we're going off. We meander sometimes if you don't know us. But Yeah, so when you hear tolerance, just red flag go up and think, wait, should I be tolerating that? What's your angle?
Is that actually a bad thing?
Right.
Or, yeah.
Right. Are you saying I should tolerate having my rights respected? They're not. They're not saying that.
Right.
They're saying something bad, probably.
It's bad for you, whatever it is they want you to tolerate.
Yeah, and if you've got the, what is it, the loophole, not the loophole. If you got the thing to stymie us here, you've got the answer that we haven't thought of.
Yeah, definitely.
Put it in the comments. I'm going to make Victor answer all the comments to this one because I do a lot of the comments.
Yeah.
I'm going to make him answer because it's his idea.
Okay.
And I'm going to make you just battle with people.
Oh, great.
Okay. And so basically, we do new content on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, and we hope to see you there. Bye.